Hi, this is Raman, your tutor from Alberta Real Estate School. In this video, we'll take a look at the buyer representation agreement. We'll take a look at what's important in the agreement and what are the things that we really need to pay attention to. So let's take a look. Buyer representation agreement. So this is when somebody wants to be our client, the buyer wants to be our client, we get them to sign a written service agreement. So this is what it is. So parties to the agreement will always be the brokerage and the buyer, right? So brokerage name will go in here, buyer name will go in there. And then what is their criteria? What kind of property are they looking for, right? So property type, so this could be, let's say, townhouse or single family detached house. We will write that here. What area, we'll say Edmonton or Calgary or whatever area you want to put in there, you can write there. And then we appoint, so this is where in the designated agency, your name will be in there. So we appoint so-and-so as your designated agent, right? Because we are in a designated agency. And then it will say, when does it start? It will start, let's say, December 1st and goes until March 30th, right? So we'll put that in there. And then it will talk about what are the responsibilities of the brokerage, right? The brokerage responsibility is that because it's a designated agency brokerage, they are impartial, right? And they will represent the sellers. So they'll be, they're basically impartial in their dealings. They'll make sure that we as a designated agent are meeting all the policies and procedures. They will supervise the designated agent. They will hold the money in trust and give you a copy of this agreement as soon as possible after signing. So if they ask you, this is important, right? If they ask you, when do you give the client a copy of the agreement? As soon as it is signed, right away, okay? And then designated agent responsibility. So that was brokerage responsibility. Our responsibilities, right? To the buyer, we're going to look for properties that match the search criteria, right? And then we will keep them informed about the search. We'll tell the seller of a property that you're interested in, take reasonable steps to find information about the property, right? Help you prepare an offer, negotiate terms, help you comply with the contract, present all offers and counter offers, right? So those are our responsibilities. If we are going to provide any extra services, that will be in here as well, okay? And then your responsibilities, this is client responsibilities. They have to communicate and cooperate with us. And anything that changes, they have to tell us, right? Any information that needs to be disclosed, that they have to tell us that. They have to give us their personal and financial information, right? So we can help them with buying the property so we know what their budget is. And then any inquiries they make. So if they go to an open house on their own and they want to put an offer on it, then they have to tell us. And then this is important here. During this agreement, and so we can say 30 days after this agreement end, you must give us copies of any offers we don't know about that they made, basically. So what they're saying is, so let's say our agreement ended, right? So today our agreement ended, and a week later, they go write an offer on a property, right? We still get paid commission on that, okay? If we show them the property, within 30 days after the agreement ends, if they go and write an offer without signing anything with another agent, then we get commission, right? If they sign something with another agent, then that agent will get the commission, right? But if they write an offer directly and we show them the property, we get an offer, like we get paid within 30 days or whatever number we put in there, okay? And then it will talk about conflict of interest, right? So showing the property is not a conflict of interest, right? It is not a conflict of interest if the designated agent simply shows you a property. So if they give you a scenario question, right? So there's an agent that has a buyer and a seller. So showing the property is not a conflict. Writing an offer on the property is a conflict, okay? So that's important. And then it will talk about the fees, right? How do we get paid? So generally, we don't charge a fee from the buyer, but we can, right? If it's a specific buyer, so let's say there's a builder, they're looking for a very specific type of property. They say, okay, well, I'll pay you $5,000 if you find me this particular type of property, then we can get paid fee, right? But normally, seller pays the fee, so buyer generally doesn't pay the fee, okay? But sometimes you can have a retainer, you can charge a fee. That's again, fees are negotiable, okay? If you pay as a retainer, the retainer will go towards the fee. Retainer is the small payment that you may take upfront. Okay, you must pay the fee while the agreement is in effect. So this is important, right? When do they pay the fee? If while the agreement is in effect and they enter into a contract to buy the property, or within 30 days after this agreement ends, you enter into a legally binding contract. So basically, they sign an offer within 30 days on a property that we showed them. Okay, so this is important. They can ask from both the buyer side and the seller side. Okay, so basically, we do not get paid to do due diligence. We get paid if we help them buy a property, right? When the sale goes through, that's when we get paid. Okay. And then basically they have to pay the fee and all of that. So, and then personal and confidential information, it will talk about how we use the personal and confidential information. So this is very important, okay? We can only use the personal and confidential information for the purpose it was obtained, right? That means to help them find a property or help them buy a property or sell a property, okay? So we can collect, maintain, use, and disclose personal information for all uses consistent with buying or potentially buying the property, right? If it's a seller, then for selling the property and marketing the property, right? So they agree that we are going to provide this information to the real estate board, all of that, and obligations. Basically, confidential information stays confidential forever, okay? And then early into the agreement, how we can terminate the agreement, right? And then the buyer acknowledges that they have read this agreement. We have given them the guide, consumer relationship guide, and they have read it. And this creates a sole agency as a designated agent. They have already received independent advice and they agree with all of this. So the buyer will sign it and then we sign it on behalf of the brokerage. Okay. So that's what a written service agreement, buyer agreement looks like.
So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like some extra help in preparing for your exam, I invite you to visit our website at www.albertarealestateschool.com, or you can give us a call at 587-936-7779. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.